Hi there, and welcome back to the Barbie Legacy. In our last episode, we ended with Barbie and Thomas bringing home their first baby, a little boy named Rowan, and we're picking up now with his newborn and infant stage. They both immediately were in the mood to fool around, so should she have? Probably not, but if they wanted to, they can do what they like. Bronco is definitely trying to be center of attention and hanging out with the people. Heath came over to visit and definitely had some stories of his own to tell, trying to keep Barbie cheered up. She eventually went back in and gave her cat some attention, which I'm sure he appreciated quite a bit. He's going to either become friends with their children or compete with them for Barbie's affection. Don't know yet. He's been pretty self-sufficient up until this point. As far as pets in this game go, I really haven't had to do much with him. He barely needs attention unless they're just giving it to him autonomously and I don't catch it. Rowan was doing his normal newborn crying, so Thomas went in there, did a real quick check on him, and then said, "You know what? That's it. You're fine." And kind of just left him. But I think it's okay. He seems to do a pretty good job of going back to sleep quickly. Both of them decided to also take some time to sleep. One of the rare moments that they can sleep at the same time and not just have to split their childcare into day and night shift. Bronco was scratching up some furniture, and I think this was the first time Barbie actually even tried to discipline him or teach him manners, which, missed a whole kitten phase for doing that. Once she was finished with Bronco, she decided to go and clean up the nursery, which they had allowed to get to an absolutely disgusting state. There's a diaper trash can right there, and they never used it. Once finished with the nursery, she went ahead and cleaned up the mess in their bathroom and just overall tried to tidy up the house. At this point, it was time for Rowan to age up into an infant, and he became cautious. He is also neurodivergent, but we don't know at this point what his diagnosis is. I do, on the modern series, like to play with some of Deep Indigo's healthcare mods. I'm also going to pop in some of these milestones just roughly where they happened. Not every single clip of the actual milestone being unlocked is included in the video, but I figured they would be fun to kind of keep track of what happened in each order. Her postpartum checkup went well, so she decided to tell Thomas about it while he was playing video games for work, trying to get to that next promotion. Heath showed up at their front porch again, decided to spend some time with Bronco, who greeted him at the door, before Barbie headed out and sat down with him again to continue talking. Unfortunately, she's not able to really join any of the club meetings at the moment. Having a newborn and a young infant takes away a lot of her free time. When she was holding him and spending a little bit of time with her son, she learned that he doesn't enjoy being held. So hopefully one of her future children will enjoy it, since we know that's one of her life goals and dreams. She immediately went and took a nap on the sofa, which is a little tiny for her. And while she was sitting down watching some TV after her nap, Bronco entertained himself with a ball of yarn. Nobody has started knitting yet, but they're not going to let go of that yarn supply. Why would they do such a thing? After watching some TV, she went ahead and gave Rowan a diaper change since she heard him crying. And at this point in time, he had a little bit of an accident, which he just thought was the funniest thing. If you're a parent, I'm sure you have experienced that at some point. When she had to go ahead and change and clean herself up, she decided, you know what, this is a really good chance for me to go ahead and check all the pockets of the laundry, make sure that nothing's in them, that there's no spare coins or pens or, maybe pacifier stuck in there, and then get a load going. Thomas went ahead and was playing some more video games for work while Barbie took Rowan to the psychiatrist and discovered that he has an emotional and social delay. But he's still getting tons of hands-on, one-on-one time with each of his parents, and they do plan on taking him at least every other day to different emotional therapy groups to try and help him. Once Rowan got put down for sleep, Barbie and Thomas went outside and sat on the porch together. They actually had really good conversation with one another, and he decided that he likes deep thoughts and he enjoys having that deeper bond and connection with his wife. The next day, Barbie decided that she was going to try her luck just selling all of their leftovers. Clearly, one of them should not have been out there, but she just left it anyway. It's more about cleaning out the fridge, making room for the new recipes than it is about having a reputation for wonderful gourmet food at this point in time in her mind. After her sale, she put on some fresh clothes, sat down with Thomas for a little bit, and of course, they were both in the mood again. So they went and hid themselves away in the bedroom to make out. And whatever else, you can think for yourself. While they were doing that, Rowan was just asleep on the floor until Thomas was ready to go and help him with some tummy time. He is hitting milestones left and right at this point in the game. He was learning to hold his head up and coo. Definitely making lots of progress, and Bronco is hanging out with them as well. Barbie decided to do some cooking. She wasn't feeling very well, so she decided to go with a salad. It looks like she ended up having some sinusitis, and she ended up having sinusitis and did get herself a prescription to try and knock that out as quickly as possible. When she was finished with dinner, she went ahead and got everything cleaned up, trying to stay on top of the chores. And when she went to sleep, Thomas thought he was being helpful by switching over the laundry to the dryer. But he started their first house fire and then, of course, ran off and left Barbie there with it. He eventually decided to come back in and try to extinguish the fire while Bronco was flipping out in the room, and Barbie removed their son from the household. Clearly, Bronco is not feeling his best, so there's going to be a vet visit in his future. After everyone was cleared to go back in the house, Barbie took it upon herself to go ahead and get the bathroom cleaned back up, get the floor scrubbed, the laundry started back. And while she was handling that, just a little bit sad, tired, frustrated, asking the watcher why was there a fire? But while she handled that and had a little bit of a mental release to herself, Thomas spent time with Rowan and then grabbed Bronco and brought him to the vet. While he was there waiting for their turn, he met Mallory, and then they got called in and Bronco was brought up to the table and diagnosed. They did decide to go ahead and do the higher end treatment just to be one and done before leaving the clinic. Bronco doesn't feel good, but it's kind of cute like that. When they finally got home, they headed inside to find Barbie in the backyard grilling some corn. He told her how everything went at the vet, let her know that he has already been treated and is doing so much better. Unfortunately, Barbie still is not feeling her best, definitely under the weather. We're just going to pretend that sinusitis gives you splotches. But while they had their conversations, they became close. She went ahead and went to take a nap to try and sleep off some of the infection. And then one of their neighbors, Nadia, came by, and while Thomas was talking with her, his anxiety disorder hit him a little bit harder than it had in a while. And that's something else that we really haven't touched much on yet in this series, but Thomas does deal with anxiety. Barbie is at this point in time the only neurotypical in the house. And she finally, after many, many, many days of gardening, decided that she really likes it. Going back in, she finished up more laundry because now that they have a baby, they're realizing there's even more than they had initially been getting used to doing. And so after that, she went and finally got herself some food while Rowan worked on rolling over and having some time just to try and get used to using his body and learning how all of his limbs work. After dinner, Barbie went ahead and grabbed Rowan to do some practice with sitting up and working on some more core muscle control. Rowan decided to go ahead and start using some of those muscles that he's learning to control on his own and just start scooching himself around the house. After that, they decided to try and put him back in place while handling chores, but he's rolling and flipping and playing all around now, which after a little bit of struggling to roll around, he managed to finally start pushing himself up on all fours and getting ready to go ahead and be crawling around the house. While Rowan was working on his physical strength and activity, Barbie went back outside and decided to do a little bit of flower arrangement and gardening. She has reached level 4 with the gardening skill, and now that it's truly something she enjoys and gets some fun out of, hopefully that continues to give her a good, healthy outlet for any sort of stress or boredom she may feel being in the house as much as she is. Thomas got home from work and she immediately went outside to greet him. I think it's adorable. This is something that she autonomously does every single day that he goes to work. So this day she went out to greet him. He immediately started telling her about his big news that he did get the promotion. So he's going on up and not at the very bottom rung of his career anymore. Rowan is hanging around and trying to join in on the company and chitter chatter while Nadia came over to visit. And then when they were not paying attention to him, he went into the kitchen to start getting into some trouble. Eventually, Barbie went and picked him up, saying, "You know what? You can just come over here and play." Although, realistically, I don't understand how he's supposed to just magically stay put in that infant mat when he can easily scooch and crawl out from it. It's not like it's a baby playpen. While Rowan was relaxing, Bronco came over and decided to get some more attention. So Barbie pulled out the laser pointer and played with him for a little bit. Unfortunately, Rowan in the background didn't seem terribly happy, but I'm sure if he really needed something, she would stop playing with their cat to go take care of him. He did eventually fall asleep and had a blowout. So Barbie went ahead and took him to get a nice bath going, and Thomas came in and was hanging out with them and talking. Afterwards, they decided to try out some foods in the high chair since he was able to sit up. And originally, papaya didn't really hit the mark. Barbie at least finds it amusing that he's playing in his food and not getting frustrated about the mess that is going to be awaiting her. Like, seriously, look at that face. Afterwards, she took a minute to go hang out with Bronco outside, and they became good friends. Now that he has the ability to sit up and hold things, Rowan is able to play with toys on his own. So it makes perfect sense that he would enjoy his stuffed cat, given that they have a cat in the house who has not made really any serious effort to bond with the baby. So I could see him wanting to substitute with the plushie. Bronco found his way outside to the front porch, hanging out with Thomas, eating some late dinner, and he is actually in a much better place with his anxiety. Later on that night, they tried to all sleep at the same time, but of course, Rowan decided to make a mess of himself and the diaper and the rug, so Barbie immediately woke up and got him off to the bathtub to get cleaned up. The next day, with it being Rowan's birthday, Thomas went ahead and got him trying some papaya again, while Barbie was left to her own devices in the kitchen to bake up the birthday cake. Upon second taste, it was determined that Rowan did like papaya. Once the cake was finished, Heath showed up for the party, and Barbie brought her son out to meet him, unlocking his first visitor officially, since Nadia had been over but not introduced. They went back inside, had the actual birthday cake blowout, and Rowan aged up to a toddler. I do think it makes sense that he went from cautious to independent, since as an infant, he spent so much quality one-on-one time with each of his parents. I believe that they probably bolstered his confidence, and they have every right to be flirty with each other and really happy about this birthday. At the end of it all, he went to sleep on the sofa. It was a long day, and Bronco is still getting into trouble. And that is where we will end this episode. So, in short, we went through Rowan's entire infancy. He managed to graduate to being a toddler, having achieved top-notch infant status. He is experiencing and growing up with a social emotional delay that they have to go to different therapies for. He has a strong immune system and an independent personality, which I definitely believe was shaped by his parents being so hands-on. In the future, I think Thomas really needs to buckle down and focus on his career a little bit more. The money is already starting to feel tighter for them than it was at the very beginning, and he just has not really progressed very quickly with anything. He needs to kind of focus on that, which it's going to be interesting to me to see how that affects their relationship, since right now they both are still very lovey-dovey, very excited to be with each other, both very excited to be with their son. And if he has to spend more and more time on the computer to learn programming, to play video games, do all the things to get his promotion, that may or may not negatively affect them. Especially, too, since he's going to be having to do a lot of that work from home, and Barbie and his kids will be at home all the time. I know it can be hard to get that privacy and time just to focus on your tasks when you have family, like not only interrupting, but also being a distraction, something that you would rather be spending time with. Thank you again for watching, and we look forward to seeing you in the next episode.